Okay, so what are we going to need for this build? We're going to need a drill. We're going to need some 28 gauge Canthal. .32 gauge Canthal. We're going to need some pliers so that we can straighten out the Canthal. Something to cut the wire with. We're going to need scissors. And the star of the show, a business card. So let's start by cutting our 28 gauge Canthal. We're going to need about 6 to 8 inches. And I don't know if that is 8 inches, but we're going to go with it. Alright, so we're going to need to straighten out this piece of wire. There are a few videos online that show you how to straighten. Sorry about that. There are a few videos online that show you how to straighten wire. But the reason I'm going to go ahead and do that here is because I want you to see just how easy this is in real time. So we're going to insert the 28 gauge into the chuck of the drill. We're going to make sure it is nice and tight. Take your pliers, hold it at the end, and give it a few spins. And it doesn't look like my 28 centered, but it is straight. Now we're going to take our 32 gauge and we're going to insert it into the end of the drill. You don't need to worry about fastening it. It doesn't need to be tight. Sorry, I'm over here wrestling with my 32 gauge. Insert it into the tip of the drill. And then what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to spin it using your fingers until you are approximately a quarter of an inch or better away from that chuck. Now we're going to take this this business card that I was showing you earlier, and we're going to go ahead and cut a small 3/4 inch piece from this. We're going to fold it in half. There it is. And you're going to take that and you're going to drop it over the 28 gauge. Now, you want to make sure that the wire you are wrapping with, in this case it's the 32 gauge, you want to make sure that that wire is straight up and down. You don't want it leaning towards the chuck. You don't want it leaning away from the chuck. Now if it's leaning away, your wraps, they may come out loose. Now if it's leaning towards the chuck too much, you may end up overlapping. So let's get it straight up and down. And then we're going to pinch that 32 gauge, and we're going to pinch the finished Clapton, the area between the chuck and the last wrap. And we're going to hold it tight, and we're just going to start spinning. Now you want to go at a moderate speed. The thicker the core wire, the faster you can go. The thinner the core wire and the wire you're wrapping around it, the more you want to maintain a slower, steady pace. If you go too fast, you'll end up putting kinks in the wire, and you don't want to do that. And there you have it. A perfectly wrapped Clapton wire. Now let's take a closer look at this so that you can see the quality of it. Now as you can see, the wire is uniform and every single wrap is tight. That's a work of art. Let's look at where we started. That's where we started. So there you have it. Perfect Clapton wire in no time at all, with very little effort at all. Like I said, it's in the setup. So let's go ahead and take a minute, and I'm going to show you why this method works so well. I'm going to readjust here. The story is in the cardboard. See if I can get this to focus. There we go. Now if you'll notice the vertical lines here and here, that's where the 32 gauge was feeding onto the 28 gauge. And what it does is it creates these grooves. As long as we continue to apply pressure, it will not only create, but it will stay in these grooves, giving you even wraps every time. And if you'll notice here, this is your finished Clapton. And your finished Clapton is acting like a screw and just backing out from between the folds of the cardboard naturally. That's why this method works so well.